But I still think that overall, like in terms of, as you have mentioned about the Final Fantasy VII, like the HD
Yeah.
re-releases that you mentioned, that you think that most of them don't work, which to some extent I do agree
See, I
because
just feel like they don't usually put like I
that's
don't think I don't necessarily think they can't be done. It's just most of the companies that do it just
like a
don't
quick
really do much. Yeah, they just okay, slap it on, just modify this setting so the graphics poof out more. Okay, we're not gonna play test or look like Silent Hill 2. Like the way they did it, the fog is like much more gone. It's not blocking your view as much. You can find 3D objects in the distance that aren't finished and shit, and find all kinds of things that look horrible that you couldn't see originally in its original releases because of the fog. It's just so like one of the original creators said on Twitter, it's like, oh my god, I cannot believe Konami released this. What have they done? Like,
wow.
it's seriously like this. You know, I see if I can even find. There used to be this giant collection of just images with red marked circles over. It was a thing sticking out of the water here. It makes no sense. What the fuck is this? What's this? Like, it's all blocked in the original by fog. It's like it's probably one of the worst examples of an HD remake thing. Like
Yeah,
I said, the
does
Sly
sound like it.
like I said, the Sly Cooper collection was a really good collection, and that's a much better effort. I haven't played the Kingdom Hearts ones, so I can't really comment on those. But I haven't heard anything drastically bad about them. So
I have not heard anything about the Kingdom Hearts releases either, but I know that it's true that a couple of re-releases are just easy cash grabs on the behalf of the companies.
yeah,
And I when a HD remake works on any platform, when it's a re-release, what they need to do is to actually have updated the game in some way, but to add content to it. And if they, and as you mentioned, if something breaks the game because they kept the originals, everything that was originally in the PS2 release, and when they changed it, it just messed everything up. If they would remake the game and renew the engine so nothing like this would happen and take the time to fix the bugs, then yeah, it would work. They add more content, that kind of stuff, and fix those little bugs, which if they were fixed, could enhance your experience.
here's one image. Now, it's here. Here.
I will have to take a look at this image. So,
Now, at the very bottom, you'll see a picture of a whale going out into the water. As you can see in the clearer image, where the fog is practically non-existent, you can see that whale is actually floating in the air.
that is,
And you
yeah,
can see the edge of the water in the middle one. It just
my.
falls. It's like, what?
You even see
Like,
the edge of the world.
exactly. The world, Silent Hill is flat. The world isn't round in the game.
The world just ends in that picture. It's
See, that's
terrible.
exactly, and that's why one of the creators was like, "How the fuck did you release this like this? What have you done?"
I have no idea. Even any developer would have spotted this. Only one who would have want to do a quick cash grab, did not care about QA, would have done something like this.
I mean, see, and the fog is like one of the hugest things about Silent Hill, so they took one of the biggest atmosphere elements of the game away, and then you see all these visual things you weren't even meant to see like this. It's like, and this is just like the iceberg's tip of shit you find in this. It's ridiculous, and oh my goodness.
Yeah, I can definitely agree why you'd be kind of pissed off, because the game does look completely cheap because of that. That'd be great if you could show it on screen just to show how terrible it would be to everyone when you do watch this podcast. because it is indeed just absolutely terrible. I do
Yeah,
agree that the fog, because I've seen the original Silent Hill being played by my brother when I was younger,
yeah,
and the fog did really add to the atmosphere because that's how Silent Hill was. You were like in this lost place, and the fog just ate up everything. Remove it, and the game just looks unfinished. Everything, as you mentioned, that you were not supposed to see can be seen.
yeah. See, and like, admittedly, that is how it is in the game itself, even in the visual. But I mean, you see,
Yeah,
you weren't meant to ever see. Like, see, the point of the fog, while it, players attached to it as an atmospheric element. I mean, the original point of the fog was disguised. I mean, like, the PS2 and Xbox obviously would have an easier time with it, but on the PS1 with Silent Hill 1, the limitation of how far the camera could see and what kind of stuff could be loaded in and that, like,
yeah.
was immensely different. And the fog just basically hid that, so you couldn't actually, like, technically if the fog didn't exist, you would have, like, Halo 2 pop-in shit, like, constantly, or Watch Dogs pop-in stuff. How shit just materializes and shit.
Yeah,
And
that's.
you're not seeing that because of the fog, basically. And it
I think the issue would be, as you mentioned, is indeed like a technical limitation on older systems
yeah,
because the PS1 only had like 2 megs of RAM, and that's really not much for games. A lot of companies had to really like conserve the resources and in order to keep it a playable frame rate.
yeah.
And that was a limitation, but at the same time, it did heighten the experience for that game. Not all game benefited for that, especially, for example, Turok on Nintendo 64. That was just terrible with the fog. But Silent Hill was designed around that fog as
Yeah.
well. It was a technical limitation, but they had to work around, which
And
indeed is
players
very clever.
embraced it because it really added to the game. And, like, future titles would play less and less with the fog, which, I mean, as somebody who loves the Silent Hill franchise, I gotta say, ever since it went to random Western developers, it's just been shite since, in my opinion, but that's just me.
Yeah, and honestly, I think overall, as you mentioned, that most ports are terrible. That the PS4 port of Final Fantasy VII will be terrible considering the platform.
I would either
Because
say it's either going to be just a lazy rehash or have issues, one of the two.
we don't even have to guess. It probably will be that. It's just like it's the PC port, which was lazy in and of itself.
Well,
It
the
had
PC version was lazy. The Steam PC version is lazy because it's a port of a PC port back during that time period where Ubisoft assisted in making a PC version of
I believe it was
7 and
Eidos.
8. Was it?
I believe it
Actually,
was
yeah, now that
Eidos.
you mention it, I think you are. We'll look at.
Because I do have the
Yes, it
PC
is Eidos. You're right. It was Eidos.
because
Which
I
is
have the
ironic because
PC
they
release
own
of
them.
the thing is that I actually have the PC release of Final Fantasy VIII on disc. In fact, I still have the case. It's the French version, but it was indeed published by Eidos.
Yep. Yep. You are indeed right. But yeah, I mean that was not incredibly far after the PS1 version. So, I mean
It was
that's
actually not a bad.
I've never
It
played the
was
PC
okay.
version, so I wouldn't know.
It's actually an okay port. It looks like the PS1 version. That's it.
No,
It just looks like-
I did hear of a notorious glitch in it where, like, you use Yuffie and you can, like, skip, like, 80% of the game with a weird glitch that's in it.
Yeah, I don't have 7. I only have 8, so I can't really confirm that. But as far as I know, Final Fantasy VIII on PC was not. Didn't really have. It probably had glitches I'm not aware of, but back in the day, we never discovered any glitches.
Now, there's always going to be glitches. You can't ever make anything perfect.
Yeah, but I mean game breaking glitches.
Yeah, see, that's like I've commented before in other videos. Like, one of the reasons I get so pissed off about Borderlands 1 is because of the game breaking issue with its online where it can corrupt your save data, and they've still yet to ever fix that. And
That's why I'm no longer playing any Borderlands.
it's like, I don't know if any of the sequels or prequel has that issue. Like, I would hope not, because that at that point you don't have a fucking excuse that, oh well, you know, it was a glaring error, it won't happen again. Like, it's like,
It won't happen again, but we won't fix the game that we have now.
yeah, you see, and obviously I have gripes with that because that affected me. I lost my character. I had to start a whole new character just to finish the DLC crap, and the on top of that, the issue with the what is it, General Knox's Vault or whatever the fuck that DLC was called. That also had a horrifyingly glaring issue that wasn't necessarily a glitch or a bug, but was a very bad design choice with, when you play online, you get everyone's quests. Like, no matter where they are in the game, if you don't have that quest in your quest log, you do now.
Yeah, I know, and if they have completed it's now completed on your end. And that was also in Borderlands 2, which was absolutely stupid. Basically, if you play to a part, then play to another part, it would just skip everything, which was infuriating because I was stuck. And I believe another game had that. If I remember right, I'm trying to remember which game had this issue, where if you jump in one's game, Dead Island. There we go, Dead Island.
Yeah.
My brother bought Dead Island, and he would play the game, and then suddenly he would play online someone who was much farther in the game than him. And as soon as he went back to his game, he was still in the same spot where the other guy was. And every other quest that he never did were gone forever.
Yeah.
And that was inexcusable from the devs. It's something, like, I know QA testing can be like a long process, because I did a bit of it. And it can also be tedious, but something like this, in terms of netcode, you gotta test it out, man. Like, go have...
Yeah, you gotta make it, like, you know, having weird bug things or weird issues that just pop in, but, you know, the game still plays, like, dang, that's horrible. But when it, like, completely halts, breaks, or even makes the game uncompletable, that's where the line sadly has to be drawn.
Yeah, and that's why I never purchased Dead Island.
Yeah, Dead Island, I purchased Dead Island when it first came out. It's the reason I did not get its sequel. At this point, well, it's really cheap now, I'll probably get, but see, like, when you fuck up like that, I did the same thing with Borderlands 2. I waited for the game to U edition and got cheap for that. When you fuck up really bad, you screwed me out of $60+ I'm not throwing you $60+ that easily again.
Yeah, I know. Look at Call of Duty. With Call of Duty Ghost is actually a very good example, because people realized that was a really bad game, and it was one of the worst selling in the franchise. But it looks like that it's still going to sell, because Advanced Warfare has actually been selling better than Ghost so far, even though it's the same bloody game.
Mostly, I don't know why anyone even, like, I don't know if you're aware, do you know what dumpster diving is?
Dumpster diving, I am fully aware what it is, and I have never done it. I was proposed by someone.
I've actually been doing it to GameStop for a few months.
Is it legal?
This is my. It is legal in my state and my city. It depends on your city and state.
I'll have to look it up for my city. I'll do it right.
Cities can have their own additional laws, and the state can. As the United States whole doesn't give a shit. United States concerns that it's legal. But like I said, your state and your city can have additional laws on top of it. It is legal where I live, so it is only illegal where I live if it is locked It has a sign that says no trespassing or dumpster diving, and if what was the other thing? There was one more thing. Was that it? I feel like there's one more thing I'm forgetting, but you get the point. Basically, if it's just out in the open, there's nothing like that. It's fine. And I've been doing that at the GameStop, and believe me, I will probably never buy a overhyped first-person shooter ever again because I just find them in the trash. Like,
Yeah,
why would I even consider buy? Like, I mean, I just found Homefront 2 weeks ago in their freaking trash. I found Medal of Honor games in their trash. It's like I found Bulletstorm in the trash. Like, why? I'm finding Connect games in the trash. Like, why would I bother buying this shit when I just get it for free now?
yeah. It's funny because in terms of getting burned by games, I want to bring out a funny story because I actively boycott Activision because the reason why I boycott them is that they never change their game. They never like their games are just not satisfying and they make complete tush from time to time. Like a lot of licensed games. Recently there was Duck Dynasty. It looked like a freaking.
Oh, I
PS2
don't even know what the fuck they were thinking with that. I really feel like
yeah.
they're just trying to hold out to that fan base. Like, like every goofy Let's Player, even Two Best Friends did a thing of it. It's like Game Grumps did a video of it. It's like everyone who does goofy video shows, like hell, I think even PewDiePie played it. Like that was about the only appeal it got with actual gamers, aside from people getting a laugh out of its existence, and that's about it. And it was originally $49. I think it's already dropped twice and had a Black Friday and Cyber Monday prices, I
Yeah,
believe.
I've seen that for $50 at my local Best Buy. The Duck Dynasty game. $50.
Looking it up now. Is currently in the 30 range on Amazon.
Still too expensive.
Oh, the deluxe 360 edition's $100 though. What do you get with this fucking thing? I didn't even know this existed. What do you get with this fucking thing?
There's a deluxe edition of Duck Dynasty on 360.
Uh,
Why would you make a deluxe?
it looks like it comes with a duck whistle. It doesn't have a description thing on it, but it shows the cover. It looks like you come with some neck collar thing, a duck whistle, and I can't tell what the other thing is, but it has a picture of the guy with the big beard on it. So the bonus Redneck Logic Uncle Sam trivia game. You get way to hunt, race, and prank to become Wapleton. Take the role. I don't know. It's like, yeah, there's some deluxe edition. It's like, I don't. Apparently, it's only for the 360 for some reason. So apparently, they hate Sony.
But like as I was going to say about Activision, like I actively boycott them, and my brother, like when I saw Destiny, it looked pretty cool. It was a cool concept of it, like an MMO first-person shooter. I thought it was a cool concept, but as soon as I saw that Activision was the publisher of that game, I thought to myself, something is gonna go wrong, for sure. My brother, funny enough, like I got nothing wrong against my brother. It's just this happened, and he was like, "Oh no, it's gonna be freaking awesome," that kind of stuff. And he buys a game, he plays it, he instantly tells me it's awesome. A week later, it's like, there's like this that's wrong, like there's this problem, that problem, and then starts mentioning so many freaking problems with the game, and like, oh, this is like freaking stupid. I hate that, and I'm like, I told you, like I knew it. Activision always does something like that.
There's always a lot of conspiracy theories about Activision messing with Destiny, but You
I
know, there's a
basically
conspiracy theories versus. I'm not saying they're untrue, but they also don't have actual proof. They're
well,
just theories.
well, like I can definitely understand why people theorize why Destiny was in quotes
Oh no, I
sabotaged. I
mean,
guess.
I always heard about different. Like two of my friends play Destiny, and I always asked them about some of the theories and what they thought about, and had up and downs with different theories of that. But I haven't played Destiny yet. I do plan on getting a copy of it since I do have PS4 and my friends play it. So, I don't usually comment too much on something that I'm not familiar with much.
Yeah, I can definitely understand why, but it's just that I don't know. Every time Activision is about to release something, I
Yeah.
always have like this sixth sense where something is just gonna go horribly wrong, and every single time, it happens. It's
That's
like,
usually what I think with most AAA people these days.
well, it's not really most AAA because I don't really pay attention to AAA games. I actually play more indie games now lately because they're better. Let's be honest. Shovel Knight, especially, I love
Plus,
Shovel Knight.
Shovel Knight is
It's freak.
really awesome.
It's amazing.
It's
But
it's so good.
I love it so much. I bought all three versions of the copy of the game, like on PC, 3DS, and Wii U. I'm gonna get the Vita version too because I love the Vita. But as I was saying, uh, with AAA games, like you said, there's always something that goes wrong. I disagree and agree. It depends on certain game. Like it really depends. It's just a random thing where you don't know like what's going on in the development team. But I swear that it always happens with Activision, and every single time, I don't know why I'm right. But another one that we have to mention is Ubisoft with two games this year. Two
Yeah,
games.
you know what's really funny? I know at least I think I know exactly where you're about to steal this to. Um, Today I went to GameStop. I asked them for the Persona Q poster thing they had, and when they were changing their advertisement stuff, and I went to pick that up today, and I picked some of the other stuff, and there was one for the Assassin's Creed Unity. I have it in my room because next time I did a video, I wanted to pull it out and be like, "What the fuck?" Because on it says won over 50 plus awards for E3.
And then look at the state of the game now. You wonder how the hell did
Yeah,
this
like 50 plus awards, but everyone on the internet's fucking raging about it. It's like,
50 plus award a complete shit.
yeah, 50 overhyped awards, or
Yeah,
sold out, or journalism shit, or whatever.
and honestly, it's funny because everyone hated it because the game was just terrible all over. It was Assassin's Creed, and people are sick of Assassin's Creed.
Oh,
And
my friend Matt he's like, when I went to Comic Con this year with him in Salt Lake, he was just like, they have like 4 titles planned for this year. 4 titles. It's like,
well,
just fucking get a year without a title, Jarrett.
well, it depends really like how big the company is. If they have multiple divisions, I don't mind that much. If the games are good, like
But that's the problem.
not just
There's a
that.
big lack of quality control with them. Like, if they were actually doing good quality control, nobody probably would be bitching as much. But they like with Watch Dogs and all that crap, they haven't been on a very positive roll with a lot of the latest releases. And I haven't checked out the crew, but I bet I would not be surprised if there's a bunch of people bitching about
especially
crap with.
especially when Ubisoft just would not shut up at all. They were just they kept like digging their own grave in a way that like their own problem, their hole. They just kept making things worse by speaking out loud and saying stuff. But also, if you look like at Unity, in terms as you mentioned, like there was no QA at all, and you just look at the PC version, you're like, dang, that thing can't run like crap. As I mentioned to you directly, not in the stream, I'm not sure if I did. I love Total Biscuit his content
Yeah.
on YouTube. I watch all of his video. Do I agree all the time? No. Yes and no. Depends.
I mean, just like anyone, you're gonna find things you agree with. You're gonna find things you disagree with. It doesn't mean you
Exactly,
have
that's
to
normal.
completely hate someone.
That's a human thing to do. But the thing is, his computer had, like in terms of graphical powers, he has two NVIDIA GeForce GTX 980s working together in SLI, and he could barely run the game at 1080p at 30 frames a
Oh
second.
yeah, believe me, like one of the things I don't like about Total Biscuits is how he really goes into the whole graphic kind of thing a lot of times, like to the point. Sometimes it just feels kind of meh to me. But yeah, if Total Biscuit has an issue running it, because there's no way that guy has an underpowered PC with how much he
Ugh,
wants, like
no.
120 frames per second and shit. Like he has a monster. So if his computer has a problem running it, there's probably something really wrong with the game. So
Pretty much, but also, like as you mentioned, I didn't like when he goes into the graphics options. I personally love it because that's what makes a PC version a PC version. Options
oh yeah, I mean that's
matter,
definitely an upside to PC version. I mean, if you're really into graphics,
which
I
I
mean,
am.
yeah, you want to go with PC because I mean, if even if the game doesn't have options, people can fucking hack it, mod it, and shit to
And also
get
frame
better
rate.
graphics. So I mean,
Frame rate is a big thing as well because the higher the frame rate, the higher the response time. Excuse me, for your controls.
yeah.
So if it
So yeah, if you're into that kind of thing, yeah, I mean, PC is where you want to be. I mean,
exactly
don't get me wrong.
like it's not really like in terms of frame rates, it's not like oh it's just a PC thing. It's a thing for every system. The higher the frame rate, the better it is. But it's the fact that the game can't even run on two $550 graphics cards working together in SLI. While technically it doesn't double the performance, that's not how SLI works. It still gives a major boost to the
Yeah,
graphics.
I would say the problems probably is they probably coded the whole fucking thing wrong.
Well,
Is
basically, yeah.
probably why it doesn't function right.
My brother, he bought the game. Again, I have to bring out my brother. I feel so sorry for him. He bought the game. He was like, "Oh, it's gonna be awesome. He loves Assassin's Creed, and you know, if he likes it, I'm fine with that." But he played it, and the first thing he told me, like, he didn't came to me, and the first thing he didn't say was not that it was awesome. He said, "It's fucking shit." That's what he told me, and I was surprised. He didn't try to tell me that it was great at first. He right away told me it was crap. He said it was funny when I fell through the world for the first time, but after the 10th time, it got annoying.
Yeah, it's like
And the frame rate,
these very mediocre launches of a lot of these AAA games is
and also the frame
what
rate on
bothers me a lot.
PS4, the frame rate was terrible. Apparently, like it would run. My brother said that it ran below 20 often, 20
Ugh.
frames a second under that, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, at least, I mean, 30, like, it has to at least be 30. When it's under 30, that's noticeable. See, with me,
All right.
um, like I just said, I'm not a really big graphics person. I just like it to look decent and play and walk. That's all I want. So I'm okay with 30
Sure.
frames, but obviously, if you have more frames, that helps. But I'm not here holding a gun up to people demanding shit. Is basically what I'm saying. But yeah, if it goes under 30 frames, then it goes into the range where it's very noticeably weird looking. It's
It just
laggy
doesn't play
looking.
good.
Yeah.
It doesn't look good. Doesn't play good. It's choppy. It doesn't work. And unfortunately, Ubisoft had that problem multiple times this year
Oh
on
yeah.
games, especially Watch Dogs was also one game that was hiccuping a lot in terms of performance, even though it didn't
Watch
look
Dogs
good at
had
all.
so much controversy. You had that poor performance,
Graphics,
falling through the world. Yeah, the whole drama about its graphics things with the
it was a
PC's
mess.
trailer stuff versus the final release, and then finding those extra bell and whistle things in its actual program files that people could click on and off and stuff. Like,
Yeah, it was that game was a mess. And then now you have Far Cry 4, which is a better story. It runs all right on all systems, except PC has a few issues of its stuttering here and there, from what I heard. But it's nowhere near as bad. as Assassin's Creed Unity, which that game was unacceptable. Far Cry 4 is apparently all right, and it's an okay PC game. Except the only thing I've seen, again, thanks to Total Biscuit, is the field of view slider, which has no numbers. So that's a bit of an issue. They could
Yeah, because I can understand why he's concerned about that. Because well, I don't have that issue, but I do remember that Total Biscuit has that issue where that causes him strain.
I also have that issue. The thing is, on a PC, if you're playing on a monitor, you're much closer to the monitor than a TV most of the time. And because you're much closer, you have a higher field of view on the screen itself. And if it's higher, but the game does not make up for that, if you can't make it to the appropriate field of view, then your eyes are like, what is this? I can't understand that. It just doesn't get it.
Yeah.
It makes you sick. Like your brain cannot interpret that, and you just feel nauseous, sick, dizzy. And even I have that. That's why I always crank up my field of view on my computer at like 100 or 110 degrees.
So yeah, I mean, for the people with that condition, yeah, I mean, I don't know how common of a condition it is. I've known Total Biscuits had it.
It's actually quite common. It's actually, technically anyone could have that kind of motion sickness if you have the right setting. If you're far away from a TV, you're not going to have that sickness. If you're really close, then you might start feeling it. But it might affect some people more than others, I would say. Because I'm nowhere near as close. Like I don't get as easily dizzy as him.
Yeah.
But it's over time it will make me sick. If I watch it for like approximately 20 minutes, that's where I kind of start getting queasy, and after 30 minutes, that's where I'm just like, no, I need to increase it.
But yeah, for those type of people, I would say that's very important. I mean, that reminds me of what is it? Legend of Grimlock. There was a user who asked them to put something in the game for them because they were basically disabled. They actually had to use a very special device that they had to use their tongue to control the directions, and they requested it, and the dev team actually put it in just for him. Just for him, that have clickable, because originally it used the mouse to just go places. So they gave him, like in the traditional games, where you could see the arrow keys on the screen. So, you know, assisting people who have issues is a very important thing. So, you know, obviously it seems odd for them to put that in the game, but not give it a scaling. It's like, I mean, I believe I did see that part of the video where he's like, what does this mean? What is the value?
Yeah, it's kind of like, oh, we'll put it in there, but then they don't completely think it through. But I think that can be, like, if they put it in there, it's like, oh yeah, that's helping. Maybe they didn't thought through it completely, and maybe they're like, we don't know how that is. They probably didn't know they needed a value because they never heard of it, but maybe I'm just protecting them at that point.
Yeah, to my understanding, that's not
they did it.
Yeah, at least it is in there. True. Gotta give them that credit. But to my understanding, I know I'm a big PC buff. I most of the stuff I play on PC are either older games or indie games. I don't usually play a lot of modern games on my PC because I do not have a supercomputer for a computer. So it's usually
it's not for everyone. Some people prefer consoles, some prefer like both. Some people prefer PC. It's different for everyone.
See, for me, games are way expensive. I mean, like if I know you haven't watched any of my videos on my channel, but I buy a lot of fucking games. Like I probably throw down $200 a month alone just buying games every month for that. So I mean, I buy a lot of games, and you know, PC wigs, very expensive upkeep. Very expensive, you know.
Well, technically, it's not that expensive if you do your research. Like a little bit, if you take your time to learn the parts and how it is. You can.
Oh yeah, if you build them, it's cheaper. But I don't know anything about that shit.
Okay, that makes more sense. Then if you get a pre-built one.
Yeah, when you buy a PC, it's expensive. When you build a PC with parts you put together, yes, I've always heard that is significantly cheaper. But I don't know anything about putting it together.
And I can definitely comment to that and add that it is indeed cheaper to build it on your own, because if you do like the math and then compare the prices, you can definitely see the difference. And also, I have a friend who bought a pre-made PC, like a gaming in quotes PC,
Oh,
and
I've seen prices for supposed gaming PCs. That shit's like insane. It's like you can buy like all the fucking consoles for that
yeah,
amount.
yeah, but his PC, like he's happy with it, which is good. You know, we gotta
Oh
do.
yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're happy, I'm not saying it's just it depends on your. See, the way I see it is, I could get more stuff and get into other things. I mean, for the sacrifice of having better graphics. I mean, like to me, it's not the end of the world as long as it functions and it's to a certain extent visually okay. I mean, it's not burning my eyes out. I don't I don't really worry about being incredibly huge. I mean, it. But I mean, if you're into that thing, I mean, that again, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, everyone has a different thing. I like a Dreamcast controller. Some people think it was the devil. Some people like an N64 control. Some people think it was the devil. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just different people have the different
opinions.
preferences of things they'll want. I usually focus more on gameplay versus just the story or the voice acting and stuff.
Yes, I do also focus more on the gameplay, but I want a higher frame rate, which does help. For me, it helps in the gameplay.
Yeah,
But for you, as you mentioned, you don't want to spend that much, and you're okay with 30 frames a second, so which
yeah.
is
I mean, for the
totally fine.
most part, there's very like PS4 is like I recently got a PS4 and I have not really experienced like 60 frames or things that are really higher frames like that very much. So
Oh, get a
it
reso
it
gun.
yeah, it bothers my eyes a little bit, but that's more because I'm not used to it. Not to the point that, like, I know I've kind of had like little rage fits and stuff before about people who want higher stuff, and like, I mean, my argument isn't that it's bad. It's just it depends on just their time in the development and their money. Like, look at Assassin's Creed Unity.
Well, that's a,
If it helps make the game functional, like all the weird errors and shit it had. Like, if the game functioned properly and they didn't focus so much that way, if I'm saying just in a theoretical way, and it turned out like that, I would think that'd be better then. I mean, if it's gonna make the game functional, I don't have a problem with it. If it's gonna be a fucking mess, it's gonna be a fucking mess. I mean, I'm not sure if that I'm getting the point across. I'm trying to think of the right way to say it. Let's say the original plan for Assassin's Creed Unity was they were determined to make it 60 frames no matter what, and because of their focus on it, they slacked off on the rest of the game, and it ended up in the situation is like right now. Let's say in the theoretical way, just theoretically, if they focused more on the coding of the game and such, and sacrificed some of the frames to make a functioning game, I mean that's my point of view. I want a functioning game more than more frames. But I'm not saying more frames is a bad thing. More
well,
frames is good too.
the
But
thing is, the thing is, if the game functions
yeah,
and the game is coded to have an unlocked frame rate, then it will show the frames. The problem is on PS4 they usually log the frame rate,
yeah,
and also they
consoles
reduce the
it's usually
graphics because
locked.
the PS4 cannot handle it. So
I
the
don't know
frame
anything.
rate,
I was meaning in a
frame
PC
rate's not coded
sense,
in
but
unless
with
you
the PS4 version, I don't know. I don't even know much about Assassin's Creed Unity on the console. To be honest, most of the people I've been hearing bitching about it has basically been mainly focused on the PC version. Actually,
PS4 version from my brother's experience, apparently the PS4
yeah.
was terrible. It was even worse than the PC version.
But do you get what I mean? Like, why I mean a bit?
I can kind of see it, but at the same time, I kind of disagree with it at the same time. Since frame rate, technically, unless it's locked, it's not coded in the game. Unless it's the game is like purposely coded to be at only 60 frames, and then if you reduce it, then it slows down, which
Yeah. Well,
is
like I
a,
said,
that's
I
like
was
an old
kind of
game.
talking in a PC sense, though. With
That's
the
not.
consoles, yeah, like you said, they'll
That's
usually
not.
lock that specific spot.
Yeah, they lock it, but at some games, if they reduce the graphics, they could actually raise it up to 60. Metro,
And that's fine too. I mean that's a whole argument. I'm trying to remember who made this argument. Um,
yeah, but
because there's the difference. There's people who want better looking graphics, and then the people who want more frames. And the two things conflict with each other. So
not really. They don't, because if you want better graphics, but you also want a better frame rate, it's up to you. Just make a more powerful computer. It's gonna cost you more, but
I'm not a programmer, but
I'm not a programmer.
the guy who was talking about this was like doing an interview with a programmer that, and I can't remember what the freaking hell his name was. They basically were talking about how in the console side of gaming that the market, the developers, or at least the publisher slash big AAA CEO people see the market more interested in the graphics than the frames. So when they're making the game, at least in his company that he was working for, they find that when they focus more on the graphics, it makes it harder for them to make the frames go up. But like you were saying before, if they downgraded the graphics some, they can raise the frames, and that was kind of what I was basing now. Now, like I said, I'm not a programmer, so I don't know that for hard, and I'm kind of taking the word for it immediately. But that's my understanding when it comes to that kind of thing in the console-wise, because obviously you can't upgrade. With PCs, you can upgrade and balance that stuff more. But with the consoles, that's it. You unlock it.
That's both right and wrong, because the consoles, the programmers lock most of the games. So if you ever play Final Fantasy 14, Realm Reborn on PS4, there's actually a graphics setting. You can make the graphics better or make them worse to increase frame rate.
Well, that's usually pretty well for most console games, but then again, that's an MMO, and ooh, excuse me.
Yes, but it still makes it a console game, even if you excuse it because of its genre.
Oh no, I'm not necessarily excusing it. I'm just saying that it would have a more important role, because when I don't know if you ever play MMOs, but whenever you go through busy town areas in any populated MMO, like you're talking about like literally thousands of fucking people standing in the exact same spot you are in, and that shit will crash you. Like, I played both World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy XI. I still play Final Fantasy XI. I quit World of Warcraft near the end of Cataclysm, but I mean, literally, in the busy towns where trade talk and stuff goes on, you could literally have it up to thousands of people in the same little general section you are in. You're talking about thousands of model characters moving and doing, like, fuck, I remember, like, when Stormwind got raided by, fucking the Horde before, and just the Italian Horde running through Stormwind, like, chugga 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 choo choo, all in a straight line, shit. Like, back then I had an older PC, it just fucking whashed.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that, but the thing is, while I do see that, as you mentioned, that they added that feature, so if there's more...
Yeah, I'm sure that's probably why it exists, is probably for that situation, but yes, that's, again, my opinion.
Yes, but it could also be added to any other games. It's not...
Oh, it could. I'm not saying it couldn't. It's probably more because they see it as a waste of time when, the console can't really be upgraded, so they probably see it...
a waste of time. Basically, like, I'm sorry to interrupt you like
that. Oh,
that.
that's fine.
But the thing is, you say the console can be upgraded, but that's technically not the idea here. The idea is to reduce the graphics in the game or make them better, but you get either a better frame rate by reducing them, or you get a worse frame rate, but the game looks slightly better. That's nothing to do with the specs of the PS4. In fact, the PS4 and the Xbox One have a very similar architecture to the PC.
Yep.
In fact, they're basically PCs.
That was the general
PCs.
idea with them.
Then you could easily port a PS4 game to the PC, no problem, because the architecture is so similar. And if they wanted, like, let's say a game like on PS4, like if Rockstar would have wanted on I'm not sure if it does have that feature, but Grand Theft Auto 5, they could add a graphic setting like high or low on PS4.
And I do definitely agree that they could do a graphic saying, well, you could go with the max cap that they think is capable and let you downgrade it based off certain things. But again, I have to think that I want to make sure you understand that I'm saying they probably think of it as a waste of time. I mean, I think that would actually be good for consumers, because then the graphic people who care more about graphics could get the graphics. If you care more about frames, you could get more frames. If you don't give a shit, you don't have to mess with anything.
Yeah, it does give more choices to the consumer, hence why I do think that if more developer added that, that would definitely make more people happy.
Yep.
As you mentioned, that could be true that some developers may consider that as a waste of resources and time. But in the end, let's be honest, it does definitely benefit the consumer.
Oh yeah, it offers more choices.
Which is indeed, as you have mentioned.
More choices are always good.
You are completely correct about this, which is true. It does give more. I'd be happy, honestly, if I had more choices in my games, especially like with graphics on. If I had a PS4 and I had a choice to make the game run better, but look a little bit worse, I would not mind.